The Proto-Renaissance was a transitional phase in art history that began in Italy between 1200 and 1400. Three artistic movements characterized the Proto-Renaissance: the Classical style, the French Gothic, and the Italo-Byzantine or Maniera Greca. The Classical style reflected the Holy Roman Emperor's desire for the previous grandeur of Roman culture. Artists like Niccolò Pisano incorporated trefoil arches, columns, and variations of Corinthian capitals in their works. Figures were also portrayed classically, with beards and flowing drapery. The French Gothic style can be recognized by dynamism and energy. Artists like Giovanni Pisano portrayed figures in excited animation, typical of French Gothic drama. The third style that shaped the Proto-Renaissance was the Italo-Byzantine or Maniera Greca style. This style is characterized by stiff frontal figures, gold leaf backgrounds, and a didactic feel. The Italo-Byzantine style was often used in the many altarpieces commissioned in the Proto-Renaissance. Artists Cimabue and Giotto broke away from the Italo-Byzantine style and moved toward the Renaissance style. Cimabue, a predecessor to Giotto, showed depth and space, a departure from the old shallow style of representation. Giotto took the work of his teacher even further, which is especially seen in the Arena Chapel fresco series. Giotto placed his figures in space and utilized foreshortening. His emotional, naturalistic, and complex style paved the way for more naturalistic painting further in the Renaissance. By 1400, a movement called humanism dictated most of art. Because humanism was the belief in man's limitless potential, the humanist movement led to a focus on the individual and the portrayal of the human body in art. Humanism encouraged artists to portray the body in the world more naturalistically and accurately. This led to artistic developments like the resurgence of contrapposto and the development of linear perspective. Linear perspective, developed by Filippo Brunelleschi, used a vanishing point to show perspective. The 1401 competition to create the doors of the San Giovanni Baptistry is an event that captured the humanist spirit of the Renaissance. Two of the main competitors were Lorenzo Gioberti and Filippo Brunelleschi. Brunelleschi was an artist with a long history and lots of fame. Gioberti, however, the newcomer, ended up winning the competition with his innovative design. Gioberti was able to cast his design in one piece, which made it cheaper and more impervious to the elements. The appreciation for Gioberti's innovation shows the humanist spirit. Humanism was also accompanied by a classical revival. This classical revival led to the portrayal of some secular subjects, with themes focusing on honoring the patron or Greco-Roman myths. Donatello's David, for example, combined a biblical subject with the classical element of the freestanding male nude. The David was, in fact, the first freestanding male nude since antiquity. Many patrons of humanist art were princely courts and wealthy individuals. Despite the humanist movement and these princely courts and wealthy individuals, religious art was still very important. The church was another major patron of the Renaissance. There was also much art for religious institutions by artists like Fra Angelico and Fra Filippo Lippi. During the Renaissance, or the early Renaissance, an important project was painting the walls of the Sistine Chapel. The lower walls of the Sistine Chapel were painted with fresco. Finally, architecture was also revived with the classical style. Architects adapted triumphal arches, engaged columns, and classical porches with their designs. Along with religious and civic architecture, the early Renaissance saw the construction of many magnificent palazzos for wealthy families like the Medicis.